Better late than never for better communication in college football. 2024 finally marks the debut of headset comms as coaches can send plays directly through the helmets of their quarterbacks and select defensive players. Jerry says, don't worry, you'll still see those crazy signboards with gifs and celebrity pics because coaches do still have to worry about signs being stolen that they are signaling in to other players.
When I got here, my biggest concern for my first 2 weeks on the job, first 2 weeks of February, was how am I going to run this without being able to communicate with the quarterback like we did in Green Bay. And then they passed it. I think that was, I'd rather be lucky than anything. And when they passed, it really took everything out of all the how are we going to signal this in, how are we going to get all these motion and put signals to them. And now I can just talk to them. So it was kind of ironic that happened 2 weeks into me getting this job. We have enough to do as far as getting our players doing the things we need to do. So it was good that some of the logistical headaches were erased when they allowed us to do this coach-to-player communication.
We've been experimenting with multiple people, and so whether it's linebacker or safety, just trying to see, the one thing that we can't simulate is a crowd noise. It's louder on defense, so it's going to be harder for one guy to be yelling out all of the different signals and different communicate there that way. So we've done a lot of different things: signals, hands, pre-snap, during the snap. So we're continuously trying to make that process better.
All right, time now for us to debut Coach Speak. You see Jerry and Dave in their, would I say younger years with that picture? Is that fair?
Yeah, it's probably fair. Yeah.
I mean, you guys were talking about
tread lightly, but it's probably fair.
Well, Jerry just made such a big point that he's younger than Dave and wanted to make sure that everybody knew. I thought we could revisit that statement. Defensively, it's interesting to hear Tony White talk about that because everybody knows it's the quarterback on offense and the direct communication. Different teams are going to have to decide which player, usually the Mike linebacker, but not always, gets the headset comms with the DC.
Yeah, they could go either way. Let me just go back with this, okay? Because I was coaching the NFL when it started there. Okay, and the thinking behind it was, who's the most important player on the field? The quarterback. So how can we make him more efficient? Okay, let's rather than run guys in or hand signals or signs or whatever, let's communicate the play right to him so he can get it to everybody quicker, more efficient. Because if we're more efficient, okay, it's going to be a better product on TV. I hate coming back to that. It's going to be a better product on TV. And if we're more efficient, we're going to win more games, okay, have a better chance to. So that's kind of how the thing started and thinking behind it back in the day. Now, I got two different scenarios on how it was used. Troy Aikman, he didn't want it. He wouldn't use it. He said, send the play in from the sideline, run a receiver in like they did before Jerry and I were even coaching, run it in from the sideline and tell him to play, and Troy would echo the play to the huddle because he didn't want that in his ear. The other side of the coin, let's go up to Green Bay with Brett Favre and Mike Holmgren. Mike said he would talk to Brent. Brent wanted as much as you can give me. So he calls the play. Brent's walking to the huddle. Okay, Brent, if he gets the play, boom, it's called. He's walking up. If the safety's off the hash, it's going to be cover two. Get the ball to the tight end quick. That's the other side. Now, when I was a head coach and we were using it from a defensive standpoint, I was never on it, but I would be standing there, the call's made, and at Miami with Zach Thomas as an example. I would say to the guy calling the play, tell Zach, watch the unbalance there. This is where they like unbalanced line. He would say, check the unbalance. So just there was, we used it as a way just to give the players a little bit more information to try to make the game a little bit more efficient.
We're still going to see signals. This doesn't stop signals because the only one that is hearing it on offense is the quarterback. And Tim Lester's point was this. They're a huddle team at Iowa. They're a West Coast offense team. We were a West Coast offensive team in Indiana. The verbiage, it's all Bill Walsh stuff, is long, okay? Yes. So Tim was thinking as he was taking the job at Iowa, how am I going to have all these signals? Because It's longer for me to signal in a play than a traditional spread team. So the first thing is, if you're a non-huddle team, the right guard doesn't know what the play is because the quarterback hears it doesn't mean he knows it. In fact, I think it's going to help the defense more than the offense because the defense can just check cover 2 because the defense responds to the offense. So if I check cover 2, the offense can't check their play and we can't keep going back and forth. I have the last say of it. But if you're talking about technology, the big news is the tablets. That's a game changer. Yeah. That means that if you're a great linebacker coach and you can be on the sideline like Seth Wallace at Iowa and go through the formation and make an adjustment, now that's a game changer. If you're an average coach and you can't teach as fast and all that, yeah. but the comms, I don't think it's a big deal. But these tablets, that's gold. Yeah. I mean, you're watching the play.
Gold, Jerry, gold.
You're watching the play that you just missed the block on.
Yeah.
Or made a block.
Well, the players hope it's the latter as opposed to the former because you get worn out if it's the latter.
The excitement should be about the tablets, not in the headsets.
Yeah, and again, they're trying to. I think it all comes back to trying to be more efficient about the thing, you know, and it's going to take the coaches almost eliminate the stuff. Why you'll have a few guys in the press box, but why are we having these guys up in the press box when I can be talking to the players and see it right here on the field, you know? So it'll make some adjustments going on. I always wanted to be in the box so I could see. Well, we didn't have the tablets back then, you know, obviously. We waited for the pictures, and if the IT wasn't working good, we didn't get the pictures.
You waited for the guy in the lab to have to dip the picture into the water, hang it up, let it dry. You know, carrier pigeon brought it to you.
Jake Butt and I did something with the high school coaches at Indiana at the championship game. And it was about tablets and it was about video. The high school coaches in Indiana have had tablets for years. Right. And they also have video. You actually could sit your offensive line down on the sidelines in the state of Indiana 5 years ago and watch the video of the play you just ran. And yet
high schools had headset comms way before college.
Right, we're just getting to it now.
You just brought a story to my mind. I'm a senior at Pitt. Coach Johnny Majors is my coach. And we play our first game. Tony Dorsett's the back. And we play the first, and we go in at halftime. And I hear our offensive coordinator and Coach Major saying, offense, I want everybody in the weight room. And we walk in the weight room, it's dark. All of a sudden, someone flicks that thing. And there's the first half. Our first half. I'm looking at myself there. You know, this was back in the 70s. I mean, I'm saying, oh, my God.
You don't mean that Coach Major stretched the rules, do you?
I'm telling you, we would watch the first half in the weight room.
The technology in stadiums is a little bit more advanced these days. Stadiums like the one in Vegas, where USC opens its season against LSU on Sunday. Want to talk about a guy who's known as a great play caller in Lincoln Riley. He'll be using those comms with a new quarterback in Miller Moss. This is a show-me game right off the bat for USC. Show me what you can be without Caleb Williams in 2024.
Yeah, you know, both of these, absolutely, but both of these teams are very similar. You mentioned Lincoln Riley, a great play caller. Brian Kelly at LSU, the last 2 years, both of these guys' offenses have averaged about 40 points a game. Both of them had #1 draft picks at quarterback that are gone, right? Caleb Williams and Hayden Daniels at LSU, same. Both of their quarterbacks are going to be starting in this game. We saw Nussmeier. He played against Wisconsin in the bowl game. Was the MVP.
Miller Moss was awesome for USC's bowl game.
Miller Moss throws 6 touchdowns, 6 in his bowl game. So, I mean, there's a lot of similarities to this, and both of them have new defensive coordinators. I mean, USC's defense last year, guys, and I coached defense there. They gave up the most points per game in any defense in the history of USC. So they made a change there. I mean, that should never happen. And LSU was second in the SEC giving up points last year, so they made a change. So from a coordinator standpoint, a quarterback standpoint, both these teams are ranked, right? I mean, you know, USC 23rd or whatever they are.
Yeah, LSU
13. So, you know, there's expectations with both of them. I mean, this should be a heck of a football game. And, yeah, we'll see how it unfolds.
Sunday night in Vegas.
Sunday night.
Yeah, I don't know much about LSU, personnel and that, but Southern California, you get a feel that this is a really offensive-driven program, and it makes sense because Lincoln Riley's coaching the quarterbacks and he's coaching the offense. So you leave there saying, now Coach Lynn on defense, who, by the way, he was playing at Penn State when the network first started. Now he's
again speaking about us being old. Thank you, Jerry. You keep getting back to this over and over.
Jerry coached against them, right?
He's a defensive coordinator. He was a student athlete.
I know, at Penn State.
Before we had this new studio. But to complement the offense, Coach Lynn on defense and the special teams, it's got to be a complete package. Brian Kelly doesn't coach offense or defense, and so, you walk away from USC thinking, is this going to be Ryan Day a few years down the road where you have a monster program that can win national championships be in the national championships year in and year out? Can you do that and still call plays?
And for Big Ten fans who haven't had the chance to see Zachariah Branch yet, kick returner extraordinaire as a youngster, going to get used a lot more this year in the pass game, maybe on jet sweeps, one of the most dynamic players in all of college football.